Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I am very excited about showing you how this solution will help transform your work experience by bringing simplicity and convenience to human capital management. With this solution, you will have instant access to all of your information from anywhere on any device. And with our analytical approach, you will gain visibility into your workforce data to make it easier to gather key metrics and predict workforce trends to make more informed decisions and allow you to operate your business more effectively. Let's take a look at all of this in action. Today, I would like to walk you through a typical employee's life cycle, starting from the employee's perspective, where we will explore how your employees can keep track of their time. Next, we will move into looking at some of the approval processes and reporting capabilities available in the system from the manager's perspective. And finally, we will wrap up with the administrator's point of view, where we will process our time and get it ready for payroll. Let's begin by logging in as our employee, Ashley. Ashley can access her employee self-service portal from any device, including her phone, and she will have the same user experience across the board. The first screen that she comes to is her personal dashboard, where she has easy access to all of her employee self-service functionality. From here, she can clock in and out, and she can also view her timesheet statistics. To provide for easier navigation, I've also created a customized favorites menu with links to areas of the system that this employee will use most frequently. This will give the employee easy access to their day-to-day items with just a simple click of a button. For example, she can easily view her schedule or put in a PTO request. Now let's begin by taking a look at how employees can track their time within the system. There are a number of ways that employees can track their time. For example, we have a mobile app which allows employees to clock in and out, which can also restrict punches based upon location. In addition, we can also work with a variety of hardware devices, which will range from your simple swipe devices to biometric devices. And then, of course, employees can also track their time using the web portal as well. So let's take a look at how Ashley can collect and manage her time. I can use this dashboard widget to clock in and out or to change cost centers throughout the day. By clicking on the Change Cost Center button, I can select the cost center that I will be working in. As you can see, a list of available cost centers will appear for me to make my selection. As I make my selection, you will notice that a notification appears to acknowledge that this transaction has happened successfully. From this screen, I can see all of my recent punches from today, and I can also take a look at my current timesheet by clicking here on the Timesheet tab here at the top of the screen. This will take me to today's time entries, but I can also check out my entire timesheet from here if necessary. In addition, I also have the opportunity to leave notes against my timesheet. I can leave a note about an event that occurred on a particular day, for example, why I was late or why I missed a punch, and an email notification will be sent to my manager along with this note prompting them to take any necessary action. I can also request changes to be made to my timesheet through a timesheet change request. Here I can request the time be added or modified on my timesheet, and these changes will go through an approval process before going into effect. The system also allows me to track additional information such as tips, mileage, and expense reimbursements. In this example, let's submit a travel expense that occurred today. First, I'll select the type of expense, and then I can enter in the dollar amount for this expense. In addition to simply tracking these expense reimbursements, we can also upload a copy of this receipt for our manager to review as part of the timesheet approval process. Once approved, the extra pay will flow over into payroll. Now let's take a look at how an employee can request time off in the system. Right from her timesheet, she can access her time off request tool. This screen contains three parts: the request tool, the historical requests, and the time off balances. Before we put in our request, let's check out our available balances. Here we can easily see what's available, and keep in mind that we can require an employee to have enough time accrued to accommodate this time off request. In this case, let's put in a day of vacation. We can then decide how we would like to take this day of vacation, whether that be a full day, partial day, or multiple day increments. And now we can select the date that we will be taking for this vacation. We have an optimized rules engine in place, allowing you to set rules around how employees can take their vacation. So for example, you could set a rule to allow only a set number of employees to be out on any given day, and the system will then create an error message if there's not enough coverage. Before submitting the request, we can also enter in a comment if necessary, and once ready, we can submit. We can see here that our request has been submitted successfully. Once it has been submitted, an email notification will alert the manager that this time off request has been submitted and is now ready for their review. Now let's move on to taking a look at the system from more of a manager's perspective. Let's log in as our manager, Jack. Our managers need to have more visibility into managing their team. When Jack logs in, he has everything that he needs in order to better manage his employees right here at his fingertips. He can easily manage his day-to-day tasks through system-generated notifications and action items that will display here on his to-do list. Managers can also create custom dashboard reports that will help give them better insight as to what is going on within their department. Displayed here on Jack's team dashboard, you will notice that he has a couple of visuals that will help him see what's going on across his team. So from here, he can view the attendance status, which is updated in real time as the employees are clocking in or out throughout the day. He also has the ability to highlight any missing punches right here for easy identification. We can then use this graph to drill down into this report to get further information. We can see here that our employee has a missing punch, and we can drill down into the timesheet to make that correction. As you will notice, our employee did not punch out at the end of the day. Perhaps they left early due to a family emergency and forgot to punch. So let's correct this incomplete time entry. Keep in mind that the system is capturing all of these changes in an audit trail. We can capture who made the change, when the change was made, the old value versus the new value, and which IP address the change was made from. In addition, notes can be left against the timesheet to provide additional information about why a change was made. If there's ever a discrepancy, you can always look back to that audit trail to get a better understanding of what happened. Now let's take a look at some of the items pending Jack's review and approval. Any to-do item will trigger an email notification to the manager prompting them to take action. So Jack can access his to-do items by clicking on the bell icon here at the top of the screen. You can see the time off request that we submitted for Ashley is being displayed right here on the to-do list. Now remember, we can set rules around time off request policies, so by the time that it reaches the manager's desk, it should be an easy approval. Let's go ahead and approve this request. As you can see, the system will prompt you for a comment that will be sent back to the employee along with the status of their request, and the time off will then be updated onto their timesheet accordingly. You can also set up multiple levels of approval based upon your business needs. Once this has been approved, the time off can then be exported to their calendar. Now we can move forward with approving the timesheets. The manager can approve these all at once or on an individual basis. In this case, let's do a mass approval. Once approved, these timesheets will be passed through an approval process, and once it reaches final approval, these timesheets will be ready for payroll processing. Now let's take a look at some of the reporting capabilities available within the system from more of a manager's perspective. Attendance is a big factor when it comes to time and labor management. So using this time dashboard, our manager can get easy insight into attendance issues to help better manage his employees. He will be notified of any occurrences as they happen, and then he can drill down into each one of these attendance charts for more visibility. Also on this dashboard, Jack is able to use charts to get a better handle on any excessive overtime issues across his team. It looks like there's a lot of overtime happening here in the customer service department, so let's take a deeper look. He can use this chart to drill down and get further information. This brings us to a breakdown of this manager's cost center view of the calculated time summary report. We can see the breakout of each employee who's acquired overtime here in the chart below. We can use this information to help analyze overtime trends and make strategic business decisions. When it comes to reporting, we can create filters to gather the appropriate data. So currently, this report is showing us how many hours were worked within a given date range. You can use these filters to change the date range that you're looking for. You can look for a specific calendar range or even a specific pay period if you'd like. We can also create filters around specific employees. You can easily add additional information into this report by clicking on the Add Remove Columns option. The current columns that are being displayed within your report are listed here on the right-hand side of the screen, and your available columns are listed here on the left. We have a search option which will allow us to search through all of the available reportable columns, so let's search for a column that we would like to bring in. In our example, let's bring in the hourly pay, and we can add that into our report, and we can define where we would like this to be displayed. Now that we've added our hourly pay, we can see this information being displayed within our report settings. Once you've configured the report in the way that you'd like, you have the option to save your settings. As you're saving your settings, you can set this report as your default, and you can also share this report view across other managers within your organization. This report can also be exported. As you can see, we can export into multiple different formats as needed. Keep in mind that you have the ability to customize any report within our system in the same way. You can also set up any report to auto-generate and be emailed to specific users. Now that we've completed the manager portion of the demo, let's take a look at our administrator's point of view where we will get the time ready for payroll processing. To do this, we'll log in as our administrator, Kathy. I can easily use my menu to access my payroll processing. From this screen, I can identify which pay periods are ready for processing, and I can drill down into the time prep process. The time processing screen is logically laid out to define every step of the process in a checklist format, outlining a clear, easy process for the administrator to follow. The first step is to make sure that all of our timekeeping data has been approved and is ready for payroll processing. Processing the records will create the data file that will be transferred into payroll. The system will look at the pay calculation rules that are in place to calculate rounding, overtime, etc. The next step allows you to review the results, which will give you an overview of the calculated hours prior to exporting this information into payroll. This step will also highlight any errors, such as missing punches that may have slipped through the cracks. Kathy can then address any errors prior to sending this data over into payroll. Now we should be ready to create the actual file that will be transferred into your payroll solution. And the last step of this process is to lock down the timesheets to prevent any further modifications from being made to this particular pay period. And with that, we have completed our timekeeping demonstration. Thank you for your time, and please contact us for more information.